Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 57 of Rannoch. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I've had some pretty major projects on the last week. We've had done the straight tunnel, the out of season ski slopes over there, of course, the campus last week, and just some pretty big over the top projects. And today I'm ready to get back to some chill residential expansion. And indeed, there isn't much space left for it these days in Rannoch. How nice this emerging downtown stuff here, by the way. Turned out really nice with this street, didn't it? Really nice, sorry. Just yeah, massively distracted on the approach into the downtown there. But very nice indeed. But yeah, today there is one bit of Rannoch that's actually bothering me, having just stumbled upon a bit that I really do like. And it's the outer line suburbia on the edge of the city centre. Ashby Gardens. Shout out to Big Dave Ashby as well. Tier 3 patron. But here, right, especially from the satellite image, it's very short, it's very abrupt, and I think it just wants room to expand up the hillside. Now, I don't want to do pretty much any terraforming for the most part today at least, because I want this big cliff edge to remain here. But I do want the suburb to continue atop the cliff. Not all the way up, of course, because we do want some distance to represent countryside, but at least up to these current road connections we have here. I think we'll start straight away with this spot right here, which will definitely function, I think, as a bit of a village, bit of a suburb centre, post office, medical, etc. And certainly a viewpoint. Respecting probably some of the last of the plaza buildings we have to use. So I'm just going to level myself out here. So we have room to place this. Now we will have hills here. But while I'm placing larger plaza assets, I just want a bit more platform. I can also reclaim quite a few trees from this too. And let's line up a road, so the viewpoint here is going to be super important. And we almost want it to be lined up with... I guess we could go with the road, couldn't we? How would that look? Yeah. I always think I want it facing Sightline, right? About there. Now, to choose our assets, there is a number of unique buildings or plazas left in particular. So I know it's a bit over the top, but I just want to see what it looks like. It does look cool up there on the hill. Where is our Statue of Industry? We've placed this already, haven't we? I actually can't remember where it is in Rannoch. It's over here in Darshland Plaza, isn't it? I don't really want to relocate that. It's kind of perfect there, isn't it? So we won't disturb it. The Statue of Liberty though, which we usually use, of course, by the coastline. I don't kind of hate it there, you know. It is very grand, but I think we can maybe turn this whole little, I guess, peninsula here, this big bulk of land, into a wider tourist park space, right? And then just have the suburb develop around it. I think low density housing right next to this might look a little awkward. Another option for us is also the Cathedral Plentitude, which again is a very bold asset, but I think that's almost an immediate no. I think you're right, you want that to be on the highest peak. It looks a little bit random there, doesn't it? So as much as I do love the placement of the fantastic fountain here, I think it's going to be better atop the hillside. I'm going to reclaim it, however we won't obviously leave this like this. We will keep the fountain vibes instead, placing it with a plazas and promenades fountain space. Of course with some tactical airport apron. Well, that'll keep a nice visual with the stadium still. We're just changing the asset out here, which is still pretty nice, but yeah, I just think a fantastic fountain is tailor-made for this viewpoint here to overlook the downtown. It's kind of one of the final tourist parks in the city, really. You can imagine people coming up here, getting pictures for Instagram, etc. Doing it for the gram and whatnot. So let's have that there. And then with the park, we'll do that. That's pretty much the perfect view, isn't it? Yes, absolutely. We'll have this as one-way road. Our road will come out just a touch further than this. And then we'll bring it up. Go a little bit. And then that can curve off. And then repeating that, the one-way system will continue into the park here. More likely add some pathways and pedestrian roads so it's not all cars. I can just begin to bring this couplet system back out the suburb, which is where the bulk of our suburb will form today. So we do want hills here, of course. We want to definitely make it look like we're on a sloped build, which is actually something I've just been attempting in Yokeley for that hillside episode that went out recently, if you managed to enjoy it. Got some big slope work here, just up to that top junction. Like I always say, these ladder terraforming projects, because I know a lot of people don't like it when we do this. But trying to maintain the shape of the land, just giving it a little hug with some terrain tools can help a lot of the time, I think. And then in terms of how we'll bring this together, probably a roundabout is going to make the most sense here right now. Which could be fun on the gradient. We'll level out a touch of space. And do some regrades here too. Let's use our 3-lane one-way road for this. So that completes our road structure coming into the district here. With the rest of the road frames, let's go ahead and time-lapse this up just to expand across the hillside here. And I think we'll keep it European suburbia. It would be a bit weird to change it at this point. Splendid and tremendous. This gives us some road frames to begin playing with here. What should also be a tremendous drive down through this bit of the suburb as well, as you just have sweeping views. I know we kind of said, you know, the mountain village up here was the best viewpoint in the city, which it probably is still. You obviously get a much greater perspective here, but I think there's something cool about kind of the top of Ashby Gardens here, right? Just being a little bit closer to the city centre. With the blimp as well. That was very cool time. It's a shame those hedges are there, isn't it really? But you can do that with Bob, by the way, if you're wondering. But alas, we'll let it block their view. And with this here, I'd love to start placing some services in, so we'll give them the usual array. We'll do clinic. I'm going to do a fire station as a kind of church, if you like. So let's grab... I'd love to have this on one of the little areas as well. Maybe here. Little church grounds. And then there's some props from mid-century modern. If we filter for that we've used before. Almost as sort of repurposed headstones, really. There's a few different props that'll qualify for it. These little fences don't do a too bad job. And you can imagine some kind of older, very old graveyard up here. Kind of a little bit like St. Patrick's Church, actually, or chapel. In the northwest of England, if you've ever seen it. It's very, very old church. We actually looked at it in a recent live stream. But it has this sort of vibe. It's much more collapsed and wrecked than this one is. But You get the general idea with it anyway. And then just some little trees and maybe a touch of parking around this too. Let's do not that across the road. Just have a little car park next door. And then maybe just some fencing, definitely. All the nature reserve stuff. But it'll give us fire service and also just make it look like a old, very old graveyard. Which itself will have pretty awesome views. We end up with something like that. Which I think would be a really nice way to round out. You can imagine how much that view must have changed over the years from this little church, right? Very cool. Makes such a great repurposed church, this building as well, with the bell tower. Which is from Seaside Resorts, available down below on Instant Gaming, by the way, if you don't have it. Cool, so that's fire and medical. We'll complete the trifecta with police, and we'll just do the little European one, I think. And let's have these in around our corporate system, these little services. And happy for vanilla commercial to grow here. We'll probably keep most things around level 1. We don't want to start getting too spicy, and let's scatter a whole bunch of parks up and down this corporate system too. And we'll do bouncy castle as well, sure. And just get people wanting to live around here. And then let's start with our little hillside houses, right? Let's get these guys in first. In terms of what we're going to do with the river valley here, it does flow directly onto the city, so there's no way of actually making it flow. We could divert it and bring it into this one, which also needs to be fixed as well, because we haven't sloped here since we unlocked 81 tiles, so we'll fix that today as well. I suppose we could just divert it into this one and have it flowing. Although it would only flow from the mountain village, but I guess we could make it look like it's coming out of underground from here, right? Like the spring is there. That could be pretty cool. Adiva has its own mountain spring. I think we'll do that. I think we'll do it. It'd be a shame not to use it, wouldn't it? It'd be a very nice compliment to Suburb, yeah. So we're almost it is quite the terraforming project, isn't it? I'm almost wondering if we can bring it through here rather than around there. Because that'd be very easy just to close off that way. We can make that look natural. We'll break this bridge here because it's not super important. And then let's just say from this little ditch, we'll slope through this way. This is some terraforming police will not be happy with me for this one, but it'll be worth it, I think, in the end, just to have the aesthetic of river flowing through, if you like. And then we'll just chisel out a few of these areas here. Try and get rid of the natural valley space that was there. Shouldn't be too difficult, I don't think. We're pretty well versed in our terraforming these days. I'd love to go back to Fremwood actually and try and fix some of the horrendous terraforming projects that must exist in that city. I'm sure Berguzia probably has some of them as well. Back when we didn't really layer or develop at all. So we'll have another bridge here. Let's go ahead and get the eco outlet up here as well. In terms of where we want it, probably just where the grass starts, I think it'll be quite nice, won't it? Should be fairly easy to disguise with some rock work. Let's have a look. Use some of my favourites around here, this one in particular. So which one is this? Rock formation number 12 is the best one, by the way, everyone. Has the smallest collision radius of the larger rocks. Something to that extent I'm not too unhappy with. And this is a pretty vertical flow, this one, so it should stay pretty much level all the way down. Might even deepen this gorge a little bit, actually. I think let's have a little look at that while we're talking about the landscape here. I always enjoy these real mountainous, terraformed terrain projects. Yeah, I just want to cut in a little bit more there, right? That slope tool is really just going to define water flow for us there. Should be alright down this way. Bear's about to get a little bit wet. Might move out the way if I was you, mate. And then with this here, this should be pretty easy to connect over. And then with lots of, I think, we'll go heavy boreal pineage for this one. And then let's have some of this. And once that water's flowing too, I think we might need another fresh water outlet. The other side of the gorge, mightn't we? This one here. It's not pooling anywhere, is it? No, I think it just needs a bit of a top up on its way down. But maybe let's do another one. Over here. Sorry to get so distracted with this. I was wanting to work on the town centre, but terrain. It's a lot of fun. There we go, right. Same thing this side as well. Let's get lots of that boreal pineage in. So once we have the water, it'll give us lots of sort of boreal mountain canyon vibe, right? With rivers coming down, should be quite nice. And with this one, let's slope up to this corner here, shall we? Cool. And then this is already the natural inlet from the strait anyway. So that should not need too much work. Fantastic. Torrent of water continues to come down. Amazing. We get lots of commercial up and down this street. I'll historicalize most of this, I think. Not historicalizing too many of the same asset either. Cool. So already that's a really nice little visual, isn't it? We got some buses up here as well. Cool. Coming into this little central plaza space, this should be an awful lot of fun. Because guess what, everyone? Time for the airport apron, of course. So let's have this coming up here. And we'll have it there. And then sort of fill this space in really until it begins to meet in the middle. About there. Now I'm not going to put it everywhere because I would like some little green spaces to be left for planter designs and whatnot during our time lapse. Now does this have snapping nodes on it? Yes, it does. Yes, please, everyone. It was made to be, wasn't it? This is a much better placement for the fantastic fountain up here. So link all of that into the asset. We will come up here. And then we'll have it there, I think. And then just to encourage the crossing and the walking to start from here. Let's create another crossing on the couplet. And then we'll have this go straight up into the middle of that. Perfect. And can we get another apron in there? We can, just about. Go with these little spaces, let's throw some bush lining in here, shall we? I think with also some of that space we've got to utilise to the right of the fountain, we might be able to actually get another unique building in here. And then let's have just some nice oak trees in here. Super. This will be such a cool space when it's done. We can even make it just look a little bit busy, you know. Let's start scattering sort of plazas and promenades, plazas in amongst this space. Keep it fresh. Let's have another one. Maybe right next door here. There's probably a few of them we can accommodate, right? Just so we'll actually get people sat on these little props here, you know, which will make a big difference for us. Really great to be back up the town there as well, isn't it? Oh, great. Really like that. So in terms, oh, do we just get a win at the game? I think we did. One of the teams has just won. We can actually get the helicopter park in here, which I think would be quite a nice spot for it. Just going to add to our plaza vibes. Takes off one of the more awkward unit buildings as well. Cool. The Sahil monument would have also been a good shout for this area as well, if you are not repurposing your fantastic fountain for this build. From the African miniature pack, that is. Oh yes, look at that. There we go. Well, let's get a sense of Old Man McGee here actually. Can we get a first person perspective on him? Can. From Edward Mason. That's you have to bear with it. It does have a bit of a freak out with the frames. But we can enjoy their view, which is really cool, isn't it? Look at that. Great viewpoint. You see the tops of the Green Cities towers over here as well, there. There's even the Gath Hub over there. Views looks to all of Rannoch. Absolutely fantastic. See people sat on the benches. Big difference there, isn't it? Very nice. I could watch this for hours. I could do. Just sit here and enjoy the views across Rannoch. A wonderful, wonderful different perspective here. It kind of freaks out when you come out of it. Bear with it, there you go. So certainly wouldn't mind some commercial here as well. think I'm actually just going to also turn off the zoning on this road. So then that way all the businesses here will face forwards. Which is obviously where you imagine they would build their gardens, etc. for this viewpoint. We've got some full graveyards. We do. We've got quite a few of them actually. Need to empty those. Will do. Fantastic. So I don't want this town getting too dense, so I think I'm actually going to run the forest brush behind this first block of 4 deep zoning. Just so we don't start getting loads of buildings packed onto this main street. And then just use that tree line as a bit of a natural barrier between the main busy high street and the commercial. It'll just stop too much density developing on the mountain, I think. I need to embrace the roundabout, of course. You idiot. Do not forget to do that. Otherwise, yeah, that's hopefully it should flow fairly nicely. We could do this all sides, but it shouldn't need it, I don't think. Start getting some blocks of this low density zoned up as well. And then we'll have a look at some schools for this place. Which should give us a really nice opportunity to use some of the countryside schools, actually. So let's come into our content creator stuff. We've got countryside elementary and high school. We don't need either, but we'll still place them. We'll have the public library there. That should be quite at home here. Absolutely is. And then I'll also have the country high school as well. Here's a nice corner asset, this one. Wouldn't mind it over here. Now if I break a grid here, can we squeeze in a football pitch? Not sure how friendly this will play with terrain, but if I can develop something of a high school campus for this area, it should look alright. A little bit of push and soft and should work out well quite nicely for us here. A little bit of car parking in there as well, just for people on the school run. And just some gently scattered trees. Maybe even a bit of a tree line here on the perimeter of the fence. We'll get some more low density here. Okay, do you guys want to start zoning? Do you want some parks over here? We've got demand. Dog park. Dog park's always a favourite, isn't it? And we'll do another ploppable over here as well. Never mind a bit of perhaps posh private school fencing over here as well. A bit of suburban fence just against the pathway. And that'll meet actually quite nicely with the fence on the building there too, won't it? Very nice. Again, probably one of the best pitches to play football there, isn't it? Was a great view. Love that. Let's also explore some transit options before we move into a detailed time-lapse today. There's a couple of different possibilities here. We've got metro, bus and trams all in the area. Train's obviously not a possibility. Neither is metro. There's already a bus going up here, of course. How horrendous is this line? It's alright. It's not getting 100% car trips saved apparently, which is quite nice. Yeah, some buses are busy, some are empty though. You know, it's pretty scattered across the whole line, isn't it? So you can definitely afford to pull off here, I think. I expect this traffic will be bad until people move in here. It should calm down eventually. I think. We hope anyway. So let's have the buses come here then. Yeah, so you're already coming on the roundabout. I will have it pull off into Upper Ashby Gardens here first. Do I want it to come down to the plaza? I think I do, right? Yeah, we definitely do. It can also start multiple times up the couplet here too. Might as well. Super. And then once it's done that, it will then continue back up to Defa up here. And then come back down. And then I probably want to stop it on its way back down again, don't I? I'm not going to send it all the way down though on its way back down. It can just come and stop here. And then if people want to get further into Ashby Gardens, you know, they can just grab that bus and go down into town or walk because it's not very far. But I don't think it needs to go all the way back down again, having just done it on its way to Defa. So we'll see how that bus configuration works out for it. Should give us some nice roads here to have some fun with as well with this couplet system. Getting people walking up and down here. And that should be okay. I was maybe thinking bringing trams up. We could turn this into tram road and have them turn off, but this is already going a different direction. Although we did plan the tram interchange here. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll leave that up to you guys. Let me know if you want to see trams coming up to Upper Ashby Gardens. Or leave it as buses. We can always make the addition. But either way, we've got the bones and the skeleton of a building. Let's get all the residential in around it with lots more trees and rocks against the river, which is flowing much nicer now. There we go. Very cool. Lots more boreal pineage and settling Upper Ashby Gardens as it becomes one of the best viewpoints in the city, of course. But let's do some detailing and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, have a little fly around the latest expansion of Ashby Gardens, shall we? Which has one of the coolest views and just general configurations in the city, right? Really fun way to use a bit of hillside here. Some nice detailing at the edge of the roundabout, simple bush and rock patterns using the line tool to help fill some space. With just such a cool view down, right? Really nice. The bus line here has become significantly busier. Have a little look here. So this runs back to the Goodwin estate, of course. Plenty of people waiting at stops. Lots more people on the buses too. We had empty vehicles when we started today, and now they're all pretty full. So that's working out really nicely. And sits in as a really nice walkable kind of bus couplet system, really, doesn't it? Very happy with how all this turned out. Some light detail up here as well with planters, gazebos, a couple of food trucks. And it blends into the terrain fairly seamlessly, and of course the view across the downtown is just second to none from here, really, isn't it? It's really sweet. Before we head down to the plaza, lots of outer lying Boreal suburbia now sits atop here, even still waiting for some to zone in the very end spaces as demand ebbs and flows, but most of it is in now. And this comes all the way down to forested hillside, where these guys, of course, have some really nice views as well. Into the canyons down here, which are flowing nice and rapid now, down into the Strait of Rannoch over here, of course. And also have some pathways meandering back up and down to the different hillsides as well. And then in around our campus sits in nicely some tastefully chosen commercial to complement the corners. And then there's also some further paths down here and through this space as well, which is very nice. And then same over this side, lots more hillside suburbia, which looks really nice, doesn't it? Really see the climbing the hill from this perspective, can't you? Really sweet. I've come to just really enjoy terrain the last few weeks, especially in Euclid and Rannoch. Two nice little hillside suburb builds. Another connection here as well. Just if people want to peel off into suburbia, most people still prefer to take the main roundabout into town, which is flowing now. Everyone's moved in, just had that rush of people. Very nice indeed. That little church over here also sits nicely. Now it's got all the houses around it. Very tasty. Some expansion of the fence over here too. To another amazing sightline, right? So nice. Absolutely love that. And then over here, coming back toward the couplet, we'll start from the bus where there's a lovely walk down. Of course, that we saw in the episode of that first person tour. But yeah, so roady lined pathways all the way down. And there are some breaks in the pathway as well. If you'd like to turn off and rejoin the road, then you can. But most sims are pretty happy to just stay in the middle. Our service assets on the corner here as well as a post office there too. Shake it up there. So just fantastic. Really, really fun couple system. Really makes the whole town, doesn't it? Even a great view back up there where you can see the castle poking out the forest. And even some of the mountain lodges, actually, you can see them here, can't you? Just some of the roofs of those lodge developments. That's such a cool sightline, actually. And then heading down into our detail plaza, there's planters, eateries, benches, parks, toilets, grills, gazebos, statues, clocks, pretty much everything you could possibly imagine in a plaza. There you go. This is why we use the assets, right? So people actually sit and enjoy the view. Isn't that amazing? So cool. And of course with pathways through it, it all functions as a walkable plaza. Down here we have the three assets, all in their different formats, just representing different restaurants, again, which if we dare take an example of the view that this guy is enjoying for his lunch, just supreme again, right? Such a fun way to admire the skyline from this little hillside suburb here, isn't it? You can see the train there as well, my word. Isn't that cool? You'll see it moving through all the towers there. That's much more satisfying than I thought it would be. Amazing. Still see it going there too. That's so cool, right? Seeing the trains move between the buildings there. Oh, there's another one. Amazing. There it goes. Fantastic. Lots of viewpoints, as you can imagine, which are very popular. But alongside the very popular helicopter park here too. And then spills back into the central plaza, which at the bus stop here we've also developed another little viewpoint space. Imagine lots of people here take their Instagram stories with like, you know, I love Rannoch. Or you imagine the sort of popular, you know, I Rannoch sign is here. Is where everyone takes photos for their social media, right? With their love heart with the city behind them. With plenty of benches and then a bit more of a less developed area too, just a little pathway up to some further bench viewpoints should people wish to take advantage of it. This leads back down to the lower levels of Ashby Gardens, which is actually very popular. Tons of people walking back up and down here, and this drops them back off at this little area of town, which isn't too far away really from the central hub over here. So absolutely the Sims will walk that short distance. It's only a few blocks and then the path up the hill. So even though the road to actually get there is quite a drive, this is quite a walkable suburb because of the connections it has here, which is quite nice really. And it blends in wonderfully, with fantastic views all around it, and a great addition to the hillside. It's helped me just to break that border we have here, and it's likely we can continue some similar projects around these sides. I don't want to go too far up the foothills. Some of them, they do become pretty unruly. Once you get higher into them, like, can't really build on this sort of terrain. But I think certainly some lower foothills projects, the observatory, will be more than welcome in a build like this. I think we'll just to help break up quite the harsh suburban border that runs across a lot of northern Rannoch. And we broke it a bit more here in a live stream one time. But I think there's still several instances where we can just improve, I think, really the satellite image of Rannoch to make it not so abrupt in a number of places. But otherwise, I'll shut up and leave it there. Let's thank you all so much for watching. A huge shout out to the YouTube members and patrons that support these videos, with a roll call to our amazing Golden Egg patrons: Bad Wolf, Blythe, Casino, Louis Adlam, Michael W, Phoenix MD, Spartan Angel, and Wesley Kit. Thank you so much indeed for all of your support. If you want to get involved in that, links down below to Instant Gaming and Patreon. Best ways to do so. A fun build today, and possibly some of the best viewpoints in the city. I think next week we'll get stuck into some weird mountain projects. I want to use the observatory, and we also had an idea of a bit of a disaster mountain valley sort of refuge, so we might have a bit of a weird quirky build with some of the natural disaster assets deep in the southern Kila Salai mountains. I think it'll be quite a unique one, that. Otherwise, enjoy today's wonderful cinematics, I'm sure, with probably some of the best nighttime views the series is likely to get. Otherwise, I'll shut up and leave it there. Let's thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.